Hello, South Florida. Welcome once again to Let's Talk Safe Money, your safe money, with Len Strickler. He's one of the co-founders of the LS Financial Group right here in Florida. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Len, great to see you. How are you doing this week?
Doing great, doing great. I mean, I don't know if you had to travel lately, but my goodness.
Oof, well, I know that you did recently. You were stuck on a Miami tarmac and then back and forth.
And tried to get into Dallas, and Dallas is flooded today like you wouldn't believe. I mean, that storm was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All different kinds of storms around the country.
But there's a lot of storms now in the financial world, too, isn't there?
Tons of storms, and that is exactly what we are going to address today. What exactly do we need to be doing with the retirement plans, the tools that you've been using to save for your retirement, and from the seat of someone like Len Strickler, who looks at them every single day, how are most Americans doing? So let's start out with the idea today is that we don't have pension plans like we used to.
Correct.
Like certainly my grandparents used to have.
Right.
And so the onus for retirement has been put onto our shoulders. Now, folks come into your offices all the time. They ask you, am I ready to retire? Is my money going to last? Is my spouse going to be okay if something happens to me? How are people doing saving in those retirement accounts?
Well, you know, interesting. My partner Art and I hosted a movie called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. And in this movie, it was really about the expose of the failed retirement in this country, okay? And back in, you know, matter of fact, in the movie, the gentleman who actually started the 401k, who actually set it up, the father of it, is in the movie, okay? It's an incredible movie. There's the Nobel Prize winning economist. There's some folks in there talking about Social Security that really know what they're talking about and where it's gone. That'll scare you. but at any rate, the movie is a great movie to show that what has happened is they put the onus back on us, okay? You know, and here you have folks that are policemen, firemen, whatever, you know, have own businesses. They don't know anything. They're not financial consultants.
Right, and it's not their fault. We say this all the time. They're great, hardworking professionals, and we've got everything from, and this is just a list you put together, our IRAs, Roths, whether they're on the outside or if it's a Roth 401k, 403bs, 457s, a 401a, I don't even know what that is, the TSP, then we've got state funds, and if you're a police officer, your Simples, your SEPs, even right now considered part of your retirement planning strategy are HSAs. And there's just all of these different tools, and I don't know if people are using them to their best advantage, only because we haven't been schooled in what to do.
That's correct. Yeah, we've had some folks come in just recently, and believe it or not, they're in a 401k, and they had no idea that they were really in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. They just thought, well, I got a 401k, and you know that I'm the administrator at our job company. I'm just relying on them. They don't even know what they've got, which is really sad. So folks just they really don't know a lot about these financial instruments. And each one of these that you pointed out, they're all different, and they all have different when you can take it, you know, how to take it. I mean, it's very complicated, some of these. And so we want to help you get through that. That's part of what our job does. My partner, Art, the master chef, he actually does all this kind of work, okay? He's been doing it 32 years. So he knows these programs inside and out, and we're able to take and help folks and guide them through exactly what they have in their program and how to maximize them.
Right, and part of our problem, I think, the issue here with this is that we're given these plans. So first we'll talk about how the plans work. Next we'll talk about the investments in them and how people are doing. And finally, throughout today's program, we'll talk about then how do we distribute this? How do we start taking our funds from them? Let's talk about a basic separation between different retirement accounts, tax-deferred and non-tax deferred. Basically what we're saying is Roth and tax-deferred accounts. For a lot of folks out there, those the Roth version, they weren't even really offered 10, 15, 20 years ago, right? So most people you see are in tax-deferred accounts, right?
That's correct. Yeah, they're in tax-deferred accounts. And again, they don't realize, it's kind of sneaks up on you, right? Because you're working, doing your thing, working hard at your craft or whatever, and you're putting money in, and you may get a match, right? And so all of a sudden, you're putting all this money in, and the government said, you know, hey, it's a good thing. You can defer this. is kind of not such a good thing.
Well, let's go back. So 1978, when we've kind of found these 401k, tax brackets were much higher. And people were looking for any place to go where they could have a tax savings. So, well, if we put money into here, then you won't have to pay taxes on that on your salary this year and next year and next year and next year, right? That was a good idea back then. Taxes have come down, and we've saved in those accounts now for many viewers out there 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
So when do we start paying those taxes?
Well, that's the big kicker, right? Now all of a sudden you want to retire, okay? And you don't realize that you had a partner in this whole thing called the IRS, right? You deferred and deferred. You didn't really pay much attention. You just thought, hey, I got $800,000 in my account. This is great. I can retire with it. And then you go to find out that, well, no, you really don't, because your partner wants their money. So that $800,000 all of a sudden goes to about $500,000, $550,000. And people are just, I mean, we've had that come in just recently, and they didn't understand, right? Because it sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
Right? We also were sold a bill of goods, kind of, in that, look, when you retire, don't worry, put it in these tax-deferred accounts, defer, because when you get to retirement, you're going to take less money to live in retirement, right? You don't have any mortgage anymore, probably, you know, or maybe low. You're not much interest there, so you're not getting anything. You know, you're really not getting much, you know, these deductions that you thought you might have. And they told you were going to have less money, you know, it's going to take less. They did a survey, Deutsche Bank, 78% of retirees said they're spending as much or more in retirement as they are today, because every day Saturday. I was going to say,
I want to make that point again. You know, a lot of people out there viewing the program think we're going to spend less in retirement. Well, wait a minute. We want to take that European vacation.
That's right.
We want to go, you know, see the kids in the holidays and so forth. Maybe we want to help out a little bit with college or the wedding that's coming up. And so those are some of the big ticket items. But because of other programs we've talked about, really high inflation, and then just the need every now and then to redo costs that you think might not be there, like buying a new car, getting a new roof.
Yeah.
The costs
a roof
the things that go up over and over again. So I don't think so much that we're going to spend less in retirement. I don't know if we're going to spend a lot more, but I think people need to assume they're going to spend the same,
that's what
right?
That's what
along
we
with a
really
little bit of inflation over time.
Yeah.
So do you,
a little bit of inflation.
Yeah, especially today. Is this part of what you do in looking at an entire review for folks who call in?
Absolutely. Yeah, we take a look at everything. We just don't, you know, any stone, we turn it over, folks, and we try to get a complete plan. What we do is, with our planning, we show you where you are right now in your planning process. Okay, so Art takes you through our software, and he shows you, here's where you are today with what you've got. And then we are going to show you our strategies, and we're going to show you where we can help you. And it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some strategies in there that you may not have ever heard of. Okay, and again, Art's the master at this. Okay, he's been doing it 32 years, and with our CPA, Carrie, with the tax implications and all, we take all that into account, and we come up with a very nice full plan that'll show you exactly when you take your money, how to take, even your Social Security, when to take it, how to take it, all of it. You know, long-term care, we got a plan for that. So we put all this together for you and get a nice comprehensive plan. All
right, Len, we're going to take a very short break, and we'll continue to talk about our folks using their retirement plans properly. Please get your own complimentary retirement readiness review by calling Len Strickler right here. 844-299-0355. I'm going to ask Len the very simple question of, how much money do I need in retirement? I'm hoping you have an answer when we get back right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. We're talking about your retirement planning needs. And on today's program, we're really addressing the different paradigm shift of how retirement now is our responsibility. Yeah. And what I'm curious is, are people using their retirement accounts to their best advantage? How exactly do we draw from them? Right now, what I'm curious about it, as far as investing in there, there's all different kinds of choices. And, you know, we need to put in certain amounts. Also, we want to make sure that we're getting the match from our, all these different things that we need to figure out. But I'm going to ask you a simple question. How much do I need for retirement today? Isn't that the question all the time? Come on, ladies, just give me the magic number.
Yeah, right. And you know, obviously, we can't do that without getting some information, right? We got to have a lot of data, folks. You know, garbage in, garbage out. We got to get good data, right? You know, I use the doctor analogy again, right? If we go into a doctor and he says, "Oh my God, Spike, get to the hospital quick, call an ambulance," and you go, "What are you talking about? You haven't even asked me any questions." So in order to give you
a diagnosis, if you walk into somebody's office and they're immediately offering you a product or a pill, here's your solution. You're like, wait a minute, you got to get to know somebody first.
Absolutely,
okay.
And you know, that's a sales pitch. Okay, we're not about a sales pitch here. Okay, we want to help folks, and that takes time. You can't do that on one meeting, by the way. We'll probably have a series of 3-4 meetings at least, okay, in order to really craft the best solution for you. But we want this to be personal. It's it's your money. And so we've got to look at that and put it through our planning process and then come out with a nice plan for you.
Okay, so that magic number, I mean, I could say 20, 30 years ago, a lot of people would look at the number $1 million.
Right.
You know, and I think we've mentioned it enough that with today's inflation, with the stock market volatility, that number might not be anywhere near enough for a 30 to 35-year retirement as people are living much longer. So let me ask you the next one. So how much do we need to save for retirement? When I say that, I'm thinking about somebody who's still working. Are you seeing people maxing out their retirement plans enough? Are we saving aggressively enough? Are people understanding the importance of how long we're living today?
I think maybe they're starting to because of this inflation and this recession. You know, all of a sudden, folks are now paying attention to their own personal, finances. But as a whole, I would say no. No, I don't think folks really nearly understand and really know what they have and how, how much money do they need. They may go online and do something with it. You get these
there's all
online
kinds of
calculators. But until you come in and talk to a professional, folks, and that's what it's about. You got to come in and talk to a professional. Whether it's me or somebody else, it doesn't matter, folks. Just come in and see us, okay?
Exactly.
We'll be more than happy to help you answer your questions, but you got to take action and come in. And but by the way, with what's going on right now, Spike, would you say that it's time for action? I'd say it's
absolutely.
time for action.
Right now is when you can tell the difference between somebody who works with a professional and someone who doesn't. It makes a big difference. I'm talking small percentages, whether it's knowing the fees in your investments, taking a realistic look at inflation, knowing how and when to take the Social Security. And again, I'll bring up Social Security. Once again, there's lots of online calculators that will tell you, if you plug in your Social Security number, it'll tell you how much you'll get if you take it at this age or this age. But for you, it's taking Social Security along with the rest of the investments.
Absolutely.
Do I use an annuity? Do I use life insurance for income? Do we need a long-term care policy and the rest of the investments, right? It's a whole pie picture.
It's a whole package, right? And Social Security, by the way, is an important part of that stool, we call it, on the legs on the stool, right?
Now, is that a wobbly leg of the stool today? Is it going to be there?
Well, that's the thing. As you know, I'm certified by the NSA. It's called the National Social Security Association. Started by a gentleman named Mark Keimer and his partner Jim. Jim was 37 years with Social Security, and they gave him the hardest cases, you know, at the last 10 years of his career. He's got some funny stories about folks and what happened and did they get their Social Security awarded. But, you know, and Mark's a CPA. But anyway, the point is, we're a member of this organization, okay? You'll see it on our website at lssafemoney.com. Okay, you can check out our website, folks. Got some great things on there, lssafemoney.com. But there, you'll be able to see all of our, you know, the radio shows we do, the TV shows. There's a lot of great resources on there. But in Social Security, you know, folks don't realize, but you may have $1 million, folks, believe it or not. Okay, but depending on if you live to 80, they say 83, women live a little longer. But when do you take that Social Security and how do you take it? That's a pot of money that's sitting there for you. Okay, and it's roughly $1 million, believe it or not, for some folks.
And you,
over time.
You've said this before. Your Social Security, it's kind of like an annuity, right? How, yeah. How are we going to draw from this?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny because, you know, I say the A word. You know, people go, "Oh my gosh, annuities." You know, a lot of people hate them. I have folks call me up on the phone and they'll say, you know, "I hate annuities." You know, I say, "Well, sir, I understand. I understand what you're saying. They've got a bad rap. But let me ask you a question. Do you get Social Security?" And, well, of course I do. "Well, sir, why don't you call Social Security up tomorrow and tell them, take this check back because this is an annuity, and we don't do annuities in this house." Well, that's all it is. It's a guaranteed lifetime income annuity that will last, if you live to 120, you're going to get it. We can design, by the way, a fixed index annuity, a guaranteed lifetime annuity, the same way. You actually build your own pension, right? But back to the Social Security thing. There's actually 258 ways to take your Social Security. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, if you're a couple, right? Like 250, and the ways if you're single, and there's so many different. So it's coupling Social Security with the rest of your investments. Let's be honest. If someone is only relying on Social Security, there probably isn't a lot that your kind of firm can do.
You know, that's right.
But to maximize it with the rest of your investments.
Yeah. And we have to take into account, too, a lot of people don't realize this, that their Social Security is taxed, can be taxed.
Yeah.
And most people go, my Social Security is not taxed. Well, yeah, it is, because if you are married and make over $44,000 a year, your Social Security is taxed at 85%.
And when you say make, we're not just talking about working in a job. We're talking about if we need over $44,000 from our old retirement accounts, meaning we start pulling out. And how many of you out there spend over or need over $44,000 a year? That means your Social Security is taxable.
Taxable. So we got to put that in the plan for you. We've got to really, you know, look at that and help you with that, because most people just don't know that. So that's part of our review that we do. Right.
So, and we're going to do that. We're going to take a very short break right now, and then I want to ask you more about how we're doing with using our own retirement plans. Folks, please get your own retirement readiness review from Len Strickler and the team at the LS Financial Group. You've got to call us, though. Are you worried about, have you used your retirement accounts properly? Do you know if you're going to have enough money to last all the way through your retirement, not just for you, but also possibly for your spouse? Give us a call right here, 844-299-0355. More Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler right after this.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler. Today we are talking about how retirement has basically been put on our own shoulders, and are we using those retirement accounts properly? Are we using them efficiently? When people come into your office, do you see them using the catch-up provisions? Are people well enough aware that, at a certain age we can start pouring more money into there?
No.
Thanks. Okay,
Yeah,
next
no.
question.
Next question. No, a lot of folks really, they don't understand. It's like you said, they put this back on our shoulders. And we have folks come in, I mean, I had a lady the other day, she came in, she had a 401k. And bless her heart, she didn't have a clue. She didn't even know she was in the market. She didn't know she was in stocks until she started seeing her money go down, and that's when she called. But we're seeing folks call us, I've lost 50, 25, 100, I could 100,000. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, folks
And they
are
don't
now,
realize how much risk they're taking in their own retirement accounts. Now,
absolutely.
As a financial professional, can you help people with that? Meaning, I understand there used to be kind of a separation, that a financial professional couldn't give advice on people's 401k plans, but at a certain age, we can either roll those out or we can start having someone else look at it. I don't think people realize how much risk they're taking in those retirement accounts. Are you able to review them?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got 𝘁𝘅-𝗳𝗿𝗄, and she's a CPA and a CFP. Registered investment advisor. They're a part of our other side of our house. Art and her work very closely together to review those things. That side of the house, of course, is under the SEC and FINRA and all kind of compliance issues. So there's certain things I can't talk about, right? But those guys do, and I focus on the fixed index annuities. I focus on helping folks. Getting guaranteed lifetime income, those kind of things. Today, fixed annuities today, or folks are coming in and saying, Len, hey, where do I put my money? Well, a fixed annuity is like a CD, right? And they're paying now, some of them 4.2, 4.8, and every time the Fed raises rates, guess what? Those go up. So we're going to see those go even higher. So, but most folks they don't understand those things, and that's what we help them plan with.
Right. And so at the firm, you've got all of the different arms, from the wealth management, taking a look at fixed income, reliable income sources, insurance needs. You also talk a bit about estate planning, and I think on a program, we didn't have a lot of time. Now, you can't be a lawyer, a broadcaster, a financial professional specialist, but you do talk about estate planning. Give me a little bit of color on that at the firm. Why is that so important to address as well?
Well, I mean, obviously, folks, once they get their assets under control, we're able to do a plan for them. The next step, number 5 step in our process, is, okay, now, is that money going to go where you want it to go when you pass away? So if you don't want it to go to probate, because if you don't direct it and have a good living trust set up, not just a will, but a living trust.
I've got a will. I downloaded it online. I signed it. I don't know. You're saying that that's not going to be enough for my assets?
No, it's not, because again, that's public. Okay, anybody can go in and take a look at that, right? I mean, you want to get something where the living trust is absolutely private. Nobody can go in and see that. Okay, the directive is exactly what you want to happen with the money. Okay, very clear, spelled out. So yeah, trust is the way to go. Okay, and we have an attorney on board that we have an alliance with, that we take around some of our workshops. But she's very good, and she focuses really on the retirement space.
And here's, I think, part of the why. We all have families. Have we ever disagreed with any of our family members?
Oh my goodness, you're right.
And so even if it's set in a will, it can be contested. And it can be fought out hard. Inside a trust, you're making the decisions for your family, so they don't have to. One more thing we haven't talked about, and I know you're not an attorney, but what about things like medical directives, making those choices, making it simple on your family? Because it isn't some of this, by not doing it, one of the biggest things that breaks up your family when you're no longer around?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really want to have all that in there. The healthcare directive, a financial directive, who's going to be the, executor of the estate, even, if you get really sick, how long do you want to last before you pull the plug? I mean, my wife, Marcia, as you know, came down with frontal temporal dementia. And her little brain just went. She got it at 55 or so, and was gone at 62. So, and by the way, long-term care is another thing we got to talk about.
Right.
Take
so,
off the table.
Exactly. So even with
that directive.
Yeah, the medical directive.
I had to have that medical directive, and I basically had the authority to do that. And I told them, do not resuscitate her. Her brain is already, if you lacks oxygen, she's not going to make it. We know that.
It's amazing to me, though, that here we are in a financial planning show, and we're talking about these kinds of choices. So it's everything from the legal choices, financial choices. It's really making sure that people are going to be okay. You kind of, again, sound like a financial psychologist or a sociologist.
Sometimes I feel like that, a priest, a psychologist, you know. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay,
and some
man.
people need absolution with their financial choices.
Yeah. We'll pray together, don't worry.
Right, right. But in doing this all together, so this sounds, again, a lot more like process than a product, any one solution.
Yeah.
So you will cover all of these bases. Obviously, the first meeting, it doesn't sound like it could be a very quick meeting. But is this a pleasant time as you're getting to know people?
Oh, yeah,
coming
you
in
get
for
to
the
know
first time
folks, and that's what I really want to do. That's what we're about. We're not the big box company, you know, financial folks. It's not us. We become good friends with our clients. We're a small little boutique, okay, but we're going to take care of you, all right? And so, yeah, we want to make sure that we know what your goals are. I want to know about your family, your kids. Do you want money for college? You know, I love that. You know, I want to know, you know, they tell me about their kids and, oh, he's got a scholarship to play football, whatever. That's getting to know people. People buy from who they know, like, and trust. And trust is number one. And that's earned over time. You can't do that on the first meeting.
I know this because this has happened during radio program, that you get phone calls from people as well at the worst moment of their life. My spouse just passed away, or my spouse is about to go into the hospital. And it's kind of amazing to me that I've witnessed the first phone call is to their financial assistants, somebody like yourself.
Yeah.
And I think what I've heard you say is, hey, everything's okay. Go be with your family. Go take care. We can take care of these things later. We already have a plan in place. We already have this mapped out. Number one right now, go take care of yourself and family.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the number one thing I want to know, and my number one thing on our process, is I want to get your money safe. Safety first. All right, that's why I do work with fixed index annuities.
Right. So what I want to make sure that we get in folks' hands right now, we got to wrap up today's program. The No Compromise Retirement Plan. This was written by Len's partner, Art 𝙤🙗. When you come in and you get your retirement readiness review, you'll get a complimentary copy of the book. But more importantly, you're going to get a retirement planning strategy for you and your spouse and family. Call 844-299-0355. Thank you for watching Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler. We will be back again next week.